Let's shift gears a little bit and go to the professional side of Don Campbell, and really, who is Don Campbell from that side? So, professional writer, and you started out when, where?
I started out, well, I was actually a professional musician before I got into writing. So I made my living as a musician for a good number of years. I never finished college. I got a couple of years in. The lure of playing live music was too great, so I started playing professionally, and that took me through about the end of the 80s. I was on tour with a harmonica player, a blues man named Paul DeLay, who was regionally pretty well known back in the day. Toured with him till the end of the 80s, and then decided I really needed a real job. I had a daughter by then, and I wanted to be home and sort of watch her grow up and not hear her first words over a telephone from some hotel room in Saskatchewan or something. So I made an abrupt shift. I had always written. I took care of the band's PR. I was good at writing in school.
Did you write music?
Some.
Which I would think is completely different.
But it is, yeah. I did some music writing, not a lot. But writing always came easy for me throughout all of my schooling. And I guess being sort of a lazy guy by nature, I thought, wonder if you can make a living at this writing thing. So I told my wife, I'm going to go be a writer now. And she said, yeah, good luck. Right if you get work, pal.
Yeah.
So I kind of BS'd my way in at the freelance level and got a gig with an old downtown magazine called The Downtowner in Portland. It was a small weekly, sort of general news, art, fashion, music, and I got to write photo cut lines for this entertainment page. So that sort of got me in the door, and I proved to them that I could write on deadline and write concisely and have all the information. And so they gave me a job with their sister publication, which was called This Week magazine, another sort of general interest weekly mag that went out via the Postal Service. So everybody got it in their mailbox every Tuesday, whether they wanted it or not. It was impossible to get your name off the mailing list. So that sort of launched my writing career, and I have progressed nicely since then. And again, I have to knock on wood for some of the breaks that I've gotten. But I was able to go full-time freelance, I guess about the end of the 90s, and have happily been on my own ever since. I have Nike as a client. I do a lot of corporate writing. I have a couple of PR firms that I do writing for. I co-wrote a book a couple of years ago that's still selling. I write for the Oregonian. I write for Columbia Gorge Magazine. So I have a nice mix of clients that I'm able to do a varied kinds of writing for. Of late, I have been working with the Department of Nike Archives, which is attempting to capture the entire corporate history of Nike. So that involves a great deal of writing, researching, editing, interviewing these old shoe dogs who helped sort of form the company around Phil Knight. So it's been a fascinating perspective into how a small little running shoe company has become this athletic behemoth around the globe.
Well, it must be absolutely fascinating talking to some of these people that were in place in the early days, and what they must have thought then compared to what they see and think now.
I'm constantly amazed, and I ask those people that question invariably, did you ever imagine that Nike would become what Nike became? And to a person, they said, absolutely no way. There's no way we should have succeeded.
What about, what areas do you think you enjoy more maybe than others as far as writing, since you've written for so many different outlets?
Boy, I'll tell you.
Or do you love all of it?
I actually love all of it, and I sort of apportion it in goofy ways, because part of what I do makes me a comfortable living, which I like.
Sure.
And am pleased about, because I'm doing it as a writer. I sort of don't leave a big footprint on the planet. I'm not polluting. I'm not making garbage. Maybe some of my writing is garbage. I don't know. but I get to make my living writing, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
And there are certain constraints and restraints doing that. But within some of that, especially for the stuff I do for you guys, it's more creative. It's more right brain. I get to really think about this stuff and do something that really puts life into words on the page. Not that I don't do that for some of my clients, but there's just certain things that I get to write that is just purely creative, that I really get to get my juices flowing. In the last couple of issues and the couple of issues going forward, I've been able to cover things around the gorge and meet people that I hadn't met before in the interest of doing stories about the gorge for your magazine. And that's thrilling for me because, again, I'm sort of expanding my sphere of I don't know what to call it, impact, I guess, around the gorge, to meet these people that are doing these cool things. You know, whether it's historic preservation or playing live music or, you know, being a botanist and tracking rare plants. I mean, I didn't know there were rare plants in the gorge that don't exist anywhere else. You know? So I had license to go interview these people and ask them questions that most people don't get to ask of them. So it's a thrill and a privilege.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah. Well, we certainly have really enjoyed having your writing in the magazine. That. So the Perfect Breathing is your book, and you referenced it briefly. Where does that fit in?
Where does that fit in? That was an odd sort of perfect storm of its own. My writing partner, Al Lee, and I have known each other for 20 years. We played in bands together. He is a martial artist. I have been an athlete of one sort or another over my life. We've both studied Eastern religions and meditation. We were coming back from a trip to the beach. We started talking about breathing. It was just kind of an odd thing. It's like, think about all the ways that breathing impacts your life. Now think about all the disciplines that breathing impacts. Everything from mountain climbing and flying jets to meditation to giving birth to dying, you know, taking your last breath as a human. So we started mapping that out, thinking, God, wouldn't this make a great book? I mean, wouldn't that make a great book?
Yeah.
Thinking, maybe, you know. So we just blindly started calling people for whom breathing is central to their discipline. And that involved, you know, religious people, spiritual people, opera singers, vocal coaches, midwives, everybody we could think of where breathing had an impact. And lo and behold, we just uncovered a mountain of information, both anecdotal that's been passed down through the ages via things like yoga and qigong and the like, to you know, the very measured and precise way that a fighter pilot has to breathe through a 7G turn so he doesn't pass out. So we got all these people to go, oh, breathing, yeah, it's like everything. It's like the central thing to what I do. So we got them to sort of open up. We did, I don't know, 35 or 40 or 50 interviews with these people, culled that down into a book to try to help people understand that if you do a couple of simple things throughout the day, breathing will help every dimension of your life, from health and wellness to creativity, to alleviating stress, to improving your immune system. And I know that just sounds wildly across the board, but it does impact every one of those areas.
We're out of time already, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on, and I know you had to drive out here. And
thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad it's under different conditions than a couple summers ago.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Anyways, great to see you again, always.
Appreciate it.
So thank you guys for watching, and looking forward to a brand new season here, so we'll see lots of you. Take care, and take care of each other.
Do you have a guest idea? Let us know. Go to localite.com.